get back together? All right. So this dialogue will continue, and we want to make it richer now by having our design challenge recipients share their problems and practice. We collectively put some of this learning from yesterday and today to work, thinking through how we can design and work forward. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Linda Mazoski, to take us through it.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So happy you came back today. Okay, we have design challenge recipients that are going to share with us, and we are going to give them a little bit of our wisdom. And just on the screen we have 4 of our 5 recipients. And I'm looking for which group would like to go first.
No, go with the order.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's order on the screen.
There's an order on the screen. Okay, so we are first. Nice, right? Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, so we are first going to hear from Uplift Education, Dallas, Texas, on their comprehensive early warning indicator tracking system. Now, I want to explain to you how we're going to do this. So I'll walk through how we're going to do this first. And I also want you to know that the teams have seen this, okay, already, so they're aware. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a wisdom in the room protocol. They're going to give us a brief description. I'm going to ask them to come up here to the table because these mics are live, in case they don't want to be middle school loud like I'm in right now. Okay. They're going to give us a 2-minute project description. And then they are going to spend 6 minutes saying, hey, this is what I could really benefit from input on, so that helps direct us. That's 6 minutes. Clarifying questions from the room, 3 minutes. And then you're going to have 9 minutes at your table talk again, to generate any wisdom or feedback you would like to share with them, right? You are going to put your Post-it note feedback for them. The first one is going to be on this poster board right here. And then we'll keep putting a new blank on it. Are there any questions about how this process might work, or what you see as potential pitfalls in this process? Everybody looks okay. All right, so I think then, let's go back up. Okay, so we're looking for Abby and Daniel to come on up.
Well, so I'm Abby Kaiser. This is my colleague Daniel Gray. We're from Uplift Education in Dallas, and so we are a charter school network with about 45 schools in the DFW area, 13 of those being high schools. So what we are working on is our very first early warning system. And so what we are hoping to do, we're obviously not the first to create something of this sort, but what we are hoping to do is incorporate lots of different data points. So of course, attendance, behavior, credits, but then also pull in some of our college readiness metrics. So ACT, we do that kind of across the board in our district. TSI is sort of the Texas version of ACT. And then pulling in some social emotional well-being information as well. So our students, through their advisory, a couple times each week, do a so SEL kind of pulse check through a program called Rhythm. Whoa. And so, Rhythm, yeah. So what we've been doing is working alongside our internal data team to pull all of that into one, what we're calling the all-in-one dashboard. And so what we have accomplished so far is they've been able to build out an individual student level view of all of those pieces of data. And so it's helpful in the sense that a school leader or a teacher can look student by student and sort of get a snapshot of all of those pieces of data. Where we would like to see the project go, and sort of some of the challenges that we've run into, is having only one student at a time is limiting in terms of those predictors that we've been able to make. And so the next phase of the project where we would like to see it go is to kind of scale it up to see full school data, to see the district data, and then we would also like it to be able to pull certain groups of students at a time. So to be able to look at like a grade level or a demographic group and be able to look at trends within that. Anything to add?
Yeah, sorry. I think the additional thing we're trying to look for is having it give us some trailing or headwind type data. So our students, what sort of trends are we seeing in terms of student behavior? Are we seeing more absences? Are we seeing more failures? And then what does that look like? And how can it start to alert us to those things that are happening?
Yeah, so what Daniel's talking about, what we've pulled into the tracker already are like attendance trends over time, so you can see for the entirety of the school year what it looks like. For some of the like state level assessments, so you can see from 7th to 8th to 9th grade, they do an English assessment at each of those points, so you can kind of see growth or dips within that. We did that with the college readiness data as well, and I think that will help us to alert some potential trends that we are seeing. What else? It's hard to talk about ourselves up here. Oh, the other cool thing that I would like to share as like a bright spot of our work is just the way that we've pulled in the current grades. And so it's syncing with PowerSchool, which is very helpful, but what we've pulled into our tracker is not just the grades themselves, but the actual missing assignments from each class. And so that way when counselors or teachers are having those conversations with kiddos, it's very easy to say like, you know, look at that. Very easy to say like, not just you're failing this course, but this is what you would need to do to catch up.
So I think we have maybe about a minute or two left for you. Is there an area of challenge that you want to share with them before they give you their clarifying questions?
Yes. So the couple that we had identified, were how should the tool inform decision making at the school or district level? What sort of training and development do campus leaders and teachers need to best use the tool? And then how do we ensure data accuracy, right? Because things like grades and attendance are entered by teachers on each of the campuses, and the tool is only as effective as the data that we have. And so those were sort of the three things that we highlighted for you guys as where we would like your input, but we are welcoming all of your suggestions. Sorry. Yep, I know that was quick. So the last one was how do we ensure data accuracy? The second one was how do we train and develop teachers and campus leaders to use the tool effectively? And then how do we use the tool to inform school and district level decision making?
Now we're going to have 3 minutes to allow if you have any clarifying questions. Oh, and I see them happening. Okay, go ahead.
I'm wondering what outcomes you're trying to improve, like what's that end goal that you're aiming for, and then if you're validating those indicators in some way, and then also how you're tracking the interventions that you're actually going to be providing to students.
I would be very vulnerable and say I think this is one of the things that we are still trying to define is what the outcomes are that we are trying to narrow in on. Like I think phase 1 of the project was trying to identify like what are all of the things that we want to pull into the dashboard. And I think we need to watch it for a little bit and sort of see what we find before we can narrow in and say like these are the outcomes that we would like to achieve.
We have another clarifying question over here and then another one from
My question is how you involve students in analyzing and acting upon that data.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's one of my aspirational goals. So I work very closely with the academic counselors on our campus, and part of the brainchild for this project was an academic counselor who essentially like manually pulled all of these pieces of data together and redid the way that her school shares report cards essentially with families. And so what I would love to see this become is something where an academic counselor could like download these as reports and have students essentially like own the process of sharing their data with their family as part of we do a quarterly like report card event. So I would love for that to be a thing where a student could kind of own their process.
So as of now, it's just adults working with data?
Correct.
And one more clarifying question on time. We're done.
Sure. Could you just give us kind of a snapshot of the structure of your school? Like how are teachers teaming, their students cohorted, how do they kind of move through the years?
Yep. So all of our high schools are grades 9 through 12. Our high schools are about 500 students total, typically. And so it really depends school to school on how the teachers are grouped. So some, there's like a very solid grade level cohort, but in some, just because of staffing challenges that I think we're all facing, teachers are across multiple grade levels. And so I think that has been a challenge for us too, of like, how do we best use this in the cohorts of teachers and scholars that we have?
Great, thanks.
All right, excellent, excellent. Now we're going to have 9 minutes for you to talk at your tables and generate some inputs, ideas for this group. And then I'll tell you when there's a minute left, and you're going to put your feedback for them over on the board. But can we give them a round of applause?